Hey, deserving listeners, it is time to watch 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
To them about money, and they are telling me that I brainwash you and I don't let you give the money, and now they can't control you.
Wow. You not control me at all.
So then Tammy said that she works all full-time.
So this is good. It's going in the right direction. So Kalani says, they say that I'm controlling you and they want to control you. And I was worried. I was like, oh no, what's Asuelu going to say? Because he could say, well, you do kind of control me. But instead he said, no, you don't control me at all. So this is telling a statement to the world that this was my decision. I made the decision to give them X amount of dollars and save the rest of it for my own family, for my kids. So and it's good supportive language to Kalani in this moment. That's good.
So maybe me and my family are lazy because I won't work to provide for your mom. No.
Wow. So that's worse than worse. That's really bad. It's making me mad.
So again, this is going really well. I'm so terrified that this family is going to go down a bad road. So Kalani is venting, which she deserves to do, of course, and he's supportive. He's saying, wow, that makes me really mad. So this is going really well. He's supportive. He is on her side. He is saying, I understand where you're coming from. He could be a little bit more along those lines. He could say, wow, I'm so sorry that my family treated you that way. I'm so sorry that you went through that. I get it. I'm really upset, but he's definitely in that direction. So this is good. Let's continue watching.
Your mom said that she does not care about the babies and that she wants you to go back to Samoa and work there and pay for their stuff since you don't give them enough.
Whoa, so now they step from like level 1 to level 17.
Yes.
That's not the level that they should reach.
Great. More supportive language. He's exhibiting that he understands the extreme nature as to the statement. He is saying, wow, they went from here to level 70. That is amazing. So they're on the same page. This is great. Maybe this will bring them closer together.
I'm wondering if Kalani is kind of misunderstanding to my mom and my sister.
I just wish we wouldn't have even come here. I wasted my money, I wasted my time, and for what? You don't need to have a relationship with these people.
Now that Kalani should not be saying. I get why she would think that, but she should avoid saying those sorts of things because we don't know how Asuelu feels. In fact, I'm quite positive that Asuelu is not going to give up on his family about this. I think that he held the line, but I think he's thinking, well, eventually they'll adjust and I'll be able to have a good relationship with my mom and my sisters and my family. But for Kalani to say, you don't need to be involved with them at all, I don't want you involved with them at all, I'm guessing is going to trigger him to start to fight with Kalani right now. I get the sentiment, but she should avoid saying something like that. And if you've ever been in this, I get a lot of emails on this actually from y'all about, what do you do about in-laws? What do I do about my mother-in-law? What do I do about my sister-in-law? What do I do about my father-in-law? And the problem, I don't know, obviously I can't answer those questions because I'm not your family therapist, but generally speaking, it starts here. There are moments in the beginning of a triangulation experience or moments in the beginning of a relationship that are really crucial to how things will play out later on. And if I were in the room, and I've been with families that go through this, what I would be hoping to get towards is for Asuelu to figure out what he wants and to assert himself with his family. And it would be mainly between Asuelu and his family. And Kalani wouldn't be involved at all, unless it was fun times. If it was fun times, then Kalani would be involved. But if it's conflictual, Kalani would not be involved. I would want to know if Asuelu wants to be involved with his family long term, and he probably does. And I'd say, okay, well, so how are we going to manage this? It's going to take some adjustment. We're going to take some time. And I would want Kalani to allow Asuelu to have his journey with his own family and to allow Asuelu to have some connection while drawing boundaries that the two of them have established, which he's done really well. So he's managed it really well. He's established what they want together. He has not thrown her under the bus. He has established the boundary, but he stayed in contact with his family. He says, I love you. He's expressed his feelings. He hasn't rejected them. He is preserving that relationship. I'm guessing he imagines in the future they will adjust. And Kalani, by getting involved, just screws up that situation, puts a target on her back. The family will turn on her and will scapegoat her and will continue to childize him. Everyone will childize him by stepping in and fighting his fights. This is between Asuelu and his mom primarily. And so anyone else getting involved in that is just butting their nose in where they shouldn't be, including his sister. So when Kalani now states you shouldn't be involved with your family, that's going to cause an issue. Let's hope that they don't get into a huge fight right here, because they're doing so well so far. They've been on the same page. They've dealt with it really well. It was a crisis, but they dealt with it as a team, and I hope that they don't turn on each other.
Why?
Because they're ass.
Baby, don't call my family ass.
Right. It's uncalled for. It's okay to think. It's okay to vent with your friends, but you don't say to your spouse, your family are a-holes. That's not cool. Even if it's true. You know, family is important to people. And when you know, it's a well-known saying. It's like, I can call my family a-holes. You can't call my family a-holes. It's a well-known sentiment. And so Kalani, I get that she's upset. She deserves a lot of support. But to start calling names and to start putting pressure on him to reject his family is going too far.
Tell your family not to act like ass. I won't call them it.
Please don't call my family ass. They're old people. My people don't know us, and we don't know them.
And Asuelu's being very adult-like right now. He is rising to the occasion. Maybe it's because Kalani has given him the ability to stand up to his own family on his own, and so he's acting very much like an adult right now, very much of his age. He is not freaking out. He's not running out of the room. He's not pouting. He's not being passive-aggressive. He's being very mature. He is saying, and very healthy, very differentiated, he's saying, please don't call my family a-holes. They come from a different world. We don't understand them. They don't understand us. Please don't call them a-holes. And that's great. He's not saying, you're an a-hole, or they're not he's just saying, please don't do that. And that's great. Let's see if he can uphold that.
If my sister will touch her, you can knock her out.
Oh, do I think that, or is that what I would do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would do that.
What about if my sister knock you out?
I've beaten up people bigger than your sister in the 3rd grade, so no.
If you try to do that, my sister will not knock out.
Okay, so now we're debating who would win in a fight.
Right. So I think they're both. If I was there, I'd be like, whoa, everyone. Kalani, I would try to get to the bottom of it. And I'm guessing if I were to really slow things down, I'm guessing Asuelu would say something like, well, I'm really stressed out that it sounds like my wife and my sister were almost in a fight, and that really stresses me out. And I don't want that to happen. So I guess I'm trying to pressure my wife to not think about violence with my sister. Plus, my sister is very tough. And so I think my wife should be a little scared of my sister. Okay, so that'd be okay. And for Kalani, I'm guessing she would be saying, well, I just went through a traumatic event with his mom and his sister. Now, Kalani agreed to go there, which if I was there, I'd be like, why are you doing that? Asuelu handled it. Why are you inserting yourself? But anyway, so, and it was predictable that it wasn't going to go well, that they weren't going to see eye to eye. I didn't think it'd go that badly, but anyway, Kalani, I'm guessing she would say something like, I just went through a trauma, which is understandable. It was a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of physical threats, and that was a rough time. And so I'm guessing she would be saying, I would like my husband to support me in understanding what I just went through. I'd be like, okay, just ask for that. But let's not trigger him by talking about violence between you and his sister. He was doing pretty well as validating your experience. Just say, hey, I guess I'm just looking for some validation, that what I went through was unfair and they were unreasonable because I feel like they were unreasonable to me. And then maybe Asuelu would be able to do that. But they're now talking about this fight thing, and it's not helpful. Asuelu, I think, is in his immature way, in his unhealthy way, he's trying to stick up for his family by saying his sister is tough, that his sister could beat her up. And it's such a child thing to say, right? Like, my dad could beat up your dad, right? And it's a way for him to assert pride in his own family. And maybe his family has a lot of pride in their fighting prowess. I don't know. And I think Kalani actually has some pride in her fighting ability as well. So they're talking about something that I don't think is really what they're talking about. I think she's looking for validation, and he doesn't want her to hate his family.
I don't think you'd understand. I would beat you up in a fight, so.
Me?
Yeah, I would.
No.
Wow. Why would you take it there? like you're, even if that's true, let's just say that's true. Like, me and my wife, let's just take me and my wife, neither have of us ever said to the other person, in a fight, I could take you. Like, the implications there are pretty awful. So even if it's true, like, why would you say it? And by the way, my wife watches these videos before they go up. She edits them a little bit. And so she's going to see this scene, and we'll probably have a conversation about it after she watches this as to whether or not she believes that she could take me or not, because she's a pretty physically strong person. So, and she's pretty coordinated. So I don't know who would win. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, but why would you say that in that moment? I think she's really worked up, and I think that makes sense. She wants validation. She felt like she wasn't maybe getting enough of that. That's okay. But to say, I could thrash your sister and I could thrash you, who are my husband, maybe Asuelu knows, oh, my wife must be really upset right now. I need to validate her. I need to not get into this kind of conversation. Let's see. But they're turning on each other, which is unfortunate because they've done so well as a team.
If your sister would have touched a frickin' molecule on my body, I would have dropped her, period. So shut the hell up.
No.
Now
that's
you're
not
pissing me off because you turn this whole thing into whether or not who would beat up who.
And you tell me you can beat me up too.
Right. You said you could beat him up. Now, I don't recommend anyone if I were on Asuelu's shoulder, I would say, just change the subject. There's no point in getting in a conversation as to which of you, husband and wife, would knock the other person out in a fight. Why are we even talking about this? This is not helpful. Why are we even imagining the two of you getting into a physical fight? So just dodge and avoid, change the subject. She's been through a lot. Just say, okay, you've been through a lot. I'm on your side. We're on the same team. Let's see what he says.
My gosh, like your family, you talk in circles of nonsense.
Thank you.
Get out of here. You're a lunatic.
I think
and
you're
so
crazy.
family.
I think you're crazy. Ass.
It's so unfortunate. It started out so well. This whole thing went so well up until this. Now, maybe they'll recover. But it was going so well up until this point. They conflicted about how much money they were going to give to the family. And Asuelu said, okay, we'll only give $100. And then when they had the conversation with the family, Asuelu stood up, asserted himself, did not throw Kalani under the bus. The family kept attacking him. Asuelu withstood it, kept holding the boundary while saying, I love you. And if Kalani would have never gotten involved, I'm guessing it would have progressed well. There would have been changes. There would have been some bad behavior towards Asuelu, I think, but Asuelu was holding fast. He was holding the boundary for the family. No, I'm not going to do this. I love my wife and I love my kids. And then Kalani has to go talk to them. Why? What was the point of that? And then Kalani comes home. She's really upset. Totally understandable. Asuelu is supporting her at first. And then she says, I could take your sister. And then Asuelu says something really unfortunate, which is, I don't think you could take my sister. What's the point in saying that in that moment? You were doing so well. Kalani jumps on that, pounces on that, and says, no, you're wrong. Not only could I beat up your sister, but I could beat up you. And now he obviously is hurt and upset that she's threatening him and his masculinity on a certain level. And now they're fighting between the two of them. And now I'm worried. I'm so terrified about this couple, but I'm worried that Kalani and him will now really start to divide. Now Asuelu might go to his family and say, you know what, you're right. I wanted to give you $1,000, but Kalani's crazy. And now there is a big split here, but it was going so well up until this point. So maybe they'll recover. Let's watch.
I won't want to be a part of this marriage anymore.
All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle, forgetting which side of the logo is on. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.